Hey guys, Will here. If you watch my videos, you know that raiding is my favorite part of WoW. I love every aspect of it. The challenge of overcoming these bosses, spending time with a group of friends, and of course, the loot. Today, we're going to take a look back at some of the all-time best raid instances in the World of Warcraft. Of course, this is all just my opinion, so feel free to agree or disagree and share your own thoughts. Firelands. Even though Firelands is a relatively small raid, the environments and boss encounters were stunning. Every raid boss had a unique or at least new model. While the general opinion is that 6 of the 7 heroic bosses were too easy, Heroic Ragnaros stands out as one of the most difficult and well-designed raid encounters in the game. On my backwater server, players made raid groups just for trash runs, hoping for an epic BOE. Dragonwrath had players farming this raid for the rest of Cataclysm, and, along with Fandrel's Flame Scythe, the Flame Talon of Elisrazor, and the Firehawk mounts, gives players a reason to visit this raid years later. Throne of Thunder. While the Mogu were a new threat, Lei Shen's Throne of Thunder still felt important and awe-inspiring. Fighting through his grandiose palace, clearing out the Zandalari, his dungeons, his royal guards, and finally, facing off against the Thunder King himself was a truly epic experience. The heroic-only boss, Raden, was just icing on the cake. Lei Shen is considered to be on par with bosses like Ragnaros and the Lich King, and bosses like Dark Animus still gave the top guilds trouble while the content was on farm. In fact, some of the bosses may have been overtuned. Horadon gave many normal mode guilds trouble, even after repeated nerfs, but that just made it feel even more rewarding when you finally downed him. Players still go back and do this raid for a chance at the mounts off of Horadon and Ji-Kun, along with the meta mount, the Armored Skyscreamer. Karasaan. The Tower of Medivh, Karasaan, was the first raid instance many players saw during the Burning Crusade. Initially requiring a long attunement, it was also the only raid many of them ever entered. This wasn't all bad, however. Karasaan had a large number of bosses, and although many considered them to be easy, it provided a challenge for those new to raiding. Even though it wasn't set in a dark dungeon like previous raids, such as Blackwing Lair, its haunting atmosphere and music captured the imagination of raiders everywhere. Karasaan is still worth a visit today, as the first boss drops a fairly rare mount, and there are many battle pets to collect as well. Icecrown Citadel. Players had waited to face off against Arthas for over a year after the release of Wrath of the Lich King. After seeing his character built up through the leveling experience and during the previous dungeons and raid tiers, it was time for the epic conclusion. Blizzard delivered on a truly satisfying ending to perhaps the most recognizable villain of the franchise. While the Lich King fight is the most fondly remembered, the rest of Icecrown Citadel is quite well designed as well. Even though this raid was the only piece of content for a year, it never got old or stale. ICCs still run today for Shadowmourne, perhaps the most rewarding legendary weapon, as well as Invincible, one of the rarest and most sought-after mounts in the game. Ulduar. You probably guessed this one, but that doesn't mean it doesn't deserve the top spot. It's difficult not to love Ulduar. The scope and scale of the instance alone makes it feel larger than life. Many of the fights were completely unique, and most of them had hard modes, which, in some cases, changed the strategy dramatically. Even the so-called filler bosses like Kolagharn or Oriea still felt epic. Ulduar is full of a rich story and lore, amazing-looking environments, and some of the best boss encounters in WoW. Mimiron's Head and Valinir may provide reasons for collectors to come and check it out, as well as the incredible number of achievements. But even without these things, Ulduar is still worth a run-through, as it represents the absolute best that WoW raiding can offer. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.